when we finished,
Uh-huh.
which depended on what day of the week it was, what time we got done. You baked
Oh,
enough
interesting.
bread, like on Friday night, you had to bake enough for Saturday. Saturday was a big day.
Hmm.
And so Friday night was usually about 1, 2 o'clock in the morning we'd get through.
Interesting.
And on Sunday night, it was pretty short. Monday had pretty good, but I think Tuesday was the shortest night, because that was for Wednesday.
Okay.
Or Monday night, one or the other, Monday or Tuesday were the shortest. And they'd last, maybe 6 to 7 hours is all.
How old are you?
Oh, I don't know, 13, 14. I didn't, maybe that's when I bought the car, was after that.
And when you say bread shift, does that mean they were baking something other than bread in different shifts?
Yeah, they had a roll shift. They had 2 shifts.
Oh, okay.
And they had, well, they rearranged it one year. And because they rearranged it, changed the bread shift to the days, I had to go to school, so I couldn't do that.
Hmm.
So what happened then is I started wrapping the bread, because then the bread would be ready to wrap by the time I got off work. I mean, out of school, I should
Oh,
say.
okay.
And I'd go over there and we'd wrap bread. And I started out wrapping the French bread. We'd just take square sheets of waxed paper and fold them, wrap them, around put the loaf of bread and wrap it, and then slide it over a hot plate to seal the wax.
Hmm.
And there was this little Spanish girl that, her name was Temmy, that ran the bread wrapping machine, big automated machine. Not near as automated as they are now, I don't think, but at any rate, it was all automatic. All you had to do was put the bread in and pull the lever, and it would get going.
Uh-huh.
It'd slice the bread, run it through the whole thing, wrap it and everything else.
Wow.
And you had to make sure you had to load it. That's the only thing that was the problem. You had this big ramp that went down, gravity fed through the slicer, and you had to keep that loaded and make sure that everything went smooth. And if you got a loaf of bread that didn't fit just right, or a corner fell off when it went through the slicer in the wrong place, and then you end up with a loaf of bread that gets mangled in the wrapper. So now you got to stop it and pull it out and start all over again. And as they came off, you had to put them in these boxes that held 25 loaves each, 5 rows of 5.
Okay.
So you took them off in rows of 5 and slide them in there.
Yeah.
You get done, it was quick and easy.
Uh-huh.
But back when I was working the bread shift, I ran the oven. I worked on the oven. I'd take a big rack of bread ready to bake, park it there, and start running them in the oven. And you'd put 3 pans up over here, 4 pans up over here, and when the shelf came up just right, you could shove them right in.
Hmm.
The shelf would keep going around. By the time the next shelf got there, you had the pans ready to slide in again.
Okay.
So you had to hustle.
Yeah. How long did the company last?
Oh, the company did all right, but they had a major setback. And at the end of the war, people were able to buy cars again.
Mm-hmm.
And Jake went out and he bought a brand new Plymouth. And I don't remember what they did, but they were celebrating he and his cousin and another kid I say. I'm talking like I was an old man then. No, I was a young kid then, but those guys all went out and celebrated somebody's birthday or something. And they went down to El Nido and Kasuki, which was a nightclub. And on the way back, you had to go up this long hill that was known as Tasuki Hill. And it went uphill, and it had a level spot, and then another hill, and so you couldn't see, straight up the hill if there was any traffic in those days. You came up, and you couldn't see over this one little hill that was there. But anyway, on the way back, Jake let his cousin drive for some stupid reason. I say stupid reason because this kid decided he wanted to see what this brand new Plymouth would do. So he was going up that hill as fast as that Plymouth would go. And he came up over this little hill, and here's this potato truck. The truck loaded with potatoes, barely moving up that hill. And he come up over the hill about 70 to 80 miles an hour and tried to miss the truck. So he swerved to the left. Well, Jake was sitting on the right-hand side, right next to the door. This other kid was in the middle, and his cousin was driving. Well, the body of that flatbed truck made an impression all the way to the back seat through that Plymouth. So you can imagine what happened to the two guys on the right.
Oh, yeah.
And Jake was one of them.
Terrible.
So there was 1/3 of the ownership of the bakery.
Right.
And meanwhile, before all of this happened, the bakery had decided it wanted to expand, so it had purchased another bakery in Durango, Colorado. And Rudy and my cousin Bob Lindbergh were both up there running the show, getting it going. And Jake stayed in Santa Fe to operate the bakery. Okay. When he was killed, they had to do something, so they sold the bakery in Santa Fe because they liked Durango better.
Oh, interesting.
So now, the people or person that they sold the bakery to had great ideas. He went out and he spent all his capital before he had any. So the bakery ended up in receivership. And being that I worked for the bakery on and off all the time, then I stayed working for them all the time. And anyway, they came at one time, they asked me if, I was getting close to graduating from high school. And they said, we'll give you a real good deal after you get out of high school. We'll make you a 1/3 partner. And you can work your way through the bakery. We'll teach you everything if you stay with us.
Wow.
Well, I thought of it, this is a real good opportunity. But I didn't like the hours that bakers had to work.
Yeah.
You had to work when everybody else was off.
Right.
And being a youngster, I didn't care for that.
Right.
So I turned them down, and that's when I probably went to work for the highway department.
Okay.
Maybe I had that in my mind already, or I don't know, maybe I had already been hired by the highway department. I can't recall now, and anyway, at any rate, that's what I did. I chose not to do that, which